What's going on, guys? It's Greg here, aka NYPrepper. It is Saturday, October 11th, 2025, and I have an emergency alert to share with you guys. Right now it is 15:34 Eastern Time here in the United States, and we have some major breaking news coming in from Estonia. So what you're looking at here is a picture of Russian troops fully armed standing on the border of Estonia at one of the Estonian border crossings. Okay, so let me read to you what's going on over here. A group of armed Russian soldiers were seen standing in the Satsi Boot in South Estonia, a stretch of Russian territory that Estonians can drive through, which the police and border guard temporarily closed on Friday. The Satsi Boot in southeastern Estonia is a boot-shaped area of Russian territory spanning 280 acres or 115 hectares and extending into Estonia. Estonians can drive through the area without a permit but must not stop. The Estonian border guard said on Friday evening that the closure came after border guards observed an unusually large unit moving on the Russian side. On Saturday, the agency released video footage. The closure aims to prevent possible provocations and incidents and to ensure the safety of Estonian citizens, the Estonian border guard said. On Friday, our patrols observed throughout the day that activity on the Russian side in the Satsi area was significantly more intense than usual. We saw various armed groups moving along the border and in its immediate vicinity. Based on their uniforms, they were definitely not border guards, Milas Saripu said, head of the Border Guard Bureau at the South Prefecture. Okay, so various armed groups, unusually large unit, and activity significantly more intense than usual. Okay, that's what the head of the border guard in the southern prefecture area, that's southern part of Estonia, said. Okay, so this is extremely concerning. He said patrols identified that groups were moving into the road running through the Satsi Boot from 3 p.m. on Friday. At first, they were moving along the roadside, but at one point they formed a line across the road. For us, this clearly constituted a threat situation. We began stopping vehicles on both sides of the Satsi Boot and informed drivers of the situation, warning them about patrols in the area. Most drivers continued on, though some turned back. The border guard requested information from the Russian side about what was happening in the area. Their response was that nothing was going on and that these were entirely routine operations. Yeah, right. Doesn't that sound familiar? You remember when they were massing 150,000 troops on the border of Ukraine and they said that this was routine training? Yeah, right. For us, this was a threat situation in which we had to make the decision to temporarily close the road passing through the Satsi Boot. Okay, so this is very, very concerning. And then here's a closure of that road that runs through Russian territory. So this is on the Estonian side. The Estonian border guard closed the road. Okay, and you can see the barbed wire fencing on either side of the road. That's what the Russians put up because they don't want Estonians passing through their territory and wandering off. So they put this fencing here. Okay, so basically Russia allows Estonians to drive through this little strip of land that sticks into Estonia. Okay, and looks like now they may not allow that anymore, or something is going on over here. Very, very concerning. And we're also hearing that the Belarusian armed forces have been placed on full combat readiness, according to the Defense Ministry of Belarus, and this was at the order of the Belarusian president, Alexander Lukashenko. So Lukashenko putting his military on full combat readiness at the same time as large groups of Russian troops are spotted at this border area in southeastern Estonia. It's not a coincidence, guys. And some other emergency news coming in. According to a report by Reuters, remember, Reuters is a mainstream company, news company, okay? So if they're reporting it, that's very serious. The Baltic states are developing plans for the mass evacuation of civilians in the event of an invasion by Russian troops. Since the start of Russia's full-scale war against Ukraine in February 2022, the three Baltic states have doubled their defense spending. The country's governments have also repeatedly announced plans to build defensive structures on their borders with Russia and Belarus. In May this year, Lithuania, Latvia, and Estonia agreed to cooperate in the field of civil defense, Reuters reported on Friday. Estonia is preparing plans to relocate a tenth of its population, around 140,000 people, to temporary shelters in the event of a Russian invasion, said Ivar Mai, mass evacuation advisor to the Estonian Rescue Board. Among those who would be expected to move as part of those plans are around two-thirds of the residents of Narva. Okay, so Narva is right on the border of Russia. There is a large Russian population in Narva, and many military planners believe that Narva would be one of the first cities that Russia would try to take if they were to invade Estonia. So this is huge news. It's only for those who don't have other places to go, Mai told Reuters. According to estimates by the Latvian authorities, in the event of a Russian invasion, a third of the country's population, or 630,000 people, would leave their homes. This figure was reported by Ivars Nakurts, deputy head of Latvia's State Fire and Rescue Service. And before I continue with the breaking news, I wanted to mention the sponsor for this update, which is Alpha Omega Gold Group. Guys, gold prices are skyrocketing, and now's the time to get on the bandwagon and get some gold and silver. And the company I trust for precious metals is Alpha Omega Gold Group. They're a company built on Christian values, and they have a free precious metals guide. And to get the guide, you got to go to ao.gold/NYP. The link is in the description down below. That's ao.gold/NYP for your free precious metals guide. And Alpha Omega Gold Group is the only company I trust for gold and silver, so check them out. Use the link in the description. Similar plans are also being prepared in Lithuania. This week, evacuation drills were held in Vilnius with around 100 people transported by municipal transport from 4 districts of the Lithuanian capital to prepared reception centers in other cities in the country, including Kelmė, Kėdainiai, Kaunas, Sauli, and Ukmergė. All right, guys, so this is just absolutely insane. All right, Lithuania is literally holding evacuation drills in their capital city, and Lithuania, Latvia, and Estonia are now coordinating mass evacuation plans. Okay, this is just absolutely insane. Lithuanian officials interviewed by Reuters say the current contingency plan is being developed to account for a much larger number of its civilians. According to Renatas Pazila, head of Lithuania's firefighting service, in the event of a Russian attack, Lithuania plans to evacuate half its population living within 40 kilometers of the Russian and Belarusian borders, which is approximately 400,000 people. It is expected that in such a scenario, 300,000 people would be accommodated in the west of the country in Kaunas, in local schools, universities, churches, and a sports arena. Wow. Okay, so guys, get prepared. Okay? Russia is about to invade the Baltics. Pazila added that as part of Lithuania's emergency evacuation plan, assembly points for citizens have already been selected, including in Vilnius. Trains and buses have been allocated, and warehouses have been stocked with essential items, including toilet paper and mattresses. A map has been prepared for motorists, marking secondary roads that are preferable in case there is a need for evacuation, as the main highways will be reserved for the army, as well as cities where shelter can be found. More than 1 million people could become displaced should Russia attack the Baltic countries, and the plans being drawn up need to be enacted. The total population of the Baltic states is 6.2 million. Lithuania has 2.9 million, Latvia 1.9 million, Estonia 1.4 million. None of the three Baltic countries have developed plans for the resettlement of citizens outside of their territories. It's a very reassuring message to our society that we are ready and we are planning. Lithuanian Foreign Minister Kęstutis Budrys told Reuters, "We have done our homework." Wow. Okay. So this is just absolutely insane. Looks like an invasion of the Baltics is imminent. Massive evacuation plans being drawn up right now by the Baltic countries, with Lithuania actively conducting evacuation drills in Vilnius. Okay. And we know that Russia sent fighter jets to the capital of Estonia a couple weeks back, 2 weeks ago. Multiple drones flew into the capital of Lithuania, and multiple drones flew into Latvia, okay? And this coming week, NATO will be doing a nuclear war exercise involving 70 or more aircraft and 14 countries. And what's interesting is at the same time, Russia will be testing missiles in the Barents Sea starting Sunday through Wednesday. They're going to be firing missiles towards Novaya Zemlya. That's that big island where the Russians tested the largest nuclear weapon ever developed by mankind, the Tsar bomb. So is Putin going to detonate a nuclear weapon? We don't know. Is Putin going to be testing some new missile like the Skyfall missile? Possibly. All right. Putin said that he will be announcing soon new military technologies. So we'll have to wait and see what happens. And this afternoon, we have an unusual daytime sub-hunting mission here in the Baltic Sea by the U.S. Navy. Typically, they deploy these sub-hunters at night, but this thing was active off the coast of Kaliningrad, which is Russian territory, all afternoon in Eastern Europe during daytime hours. Okay, so something must be going on here for them to do that. And then also we had this interesting aerial refueler flight that left Patufik Air Base up in northern Greenland, formerly known as Thule Air Base, and it went all the way down to the continental United States. We also had a large movement of U.S. military cargo planes to the Middle East from Ramstein. So here you can see 6 C-17 Globemasters. This was late last night. I don't know if this is related to Trump's trip to Israel and Gaza, or if something else is going on. I'm not entirely sure. And what you're looking at here is a picture of a church that was hit by a Russian missile. Apparently 2 people were killed and 4 wounded in a Russian missile strike on this Orthodox church in Kostiantynivka in eastern Ukraine. So Trump is definitely not going to be happy about seeing one of these beautiful golden domes being destroyed by Russian missiles. That was one of his biggest pet peeves, if you remember. He really hated seeing those golden domes getting destroyed. Here you can see one just hanging on its side. But guys, this is a sign of the end times. Okay, Russia is literally striking churches. Okay, These are literal churches that they're striking directly with missiles. All right, that is just truly satanic. All right. And a Russian drone violated Estonian airspace for 18 minutes yesterday before flying back to Russia. Okay, 18 minutes in Estonia. And drones were spotted over a NATO base in Germany with nuclear early warning aircraft, according to Der Spiegel. This was earlier in the week on Wednesday. And the Army of the Czech Republic is recording an increase in the number of cases of unidentified drones appearing over its military facilities and near important infrastructure facilities in the country. So now the Czech Republic is subject to these Russian drone incursions. And Putin said yesterday in a press conference that Russia will respond to Ukraine's threats to strike with tomahawks by strengthening its air defense system. He also said Russia will soon be able to announce the emergence of new types of weapons. And a readout from Trump's visit to Walter Reed for his annual doctor's checkup says he got his flu shot and a COVID booster. Okay, interesting. And apparently Trump remains in excellent overall health, according to his doctor. And Trump plans to hold a Gaza summit during his visit to Israel and Egypt next week. Representatives from Germany, France, the UK, Italy, Qatar, the UAE, Jordan, Turkey, Saudi Arabia, Pakistan, and Indonesia are expected to attend. So all the big players in the Middle East and in Europe are going to be at this Gaza summit. It sounds awfully suspicious to me. It sounds like Trump wants to talk about a larger Middle East peace deal as well. Okay, he's already said that he wants a deal between Iran and Israel. He wants a peace deal with Iran. Okay, and that is biblical, guys. If that actually happens, that's biblical. And Trump said he thinks the ceasefire in Gaza will hold because Israel and Hamas are tired of fighting. And the U.S. is establishing a counter-narcotics joint task force in Southcom assigned to, quote-unquote, crush the cartels, according to the U.S. Secretary of War. And starting November 1st, the U.S. will impose a 100% tariff on China. Absolutely insane. And the stock market absolutely crashed on Friday due to this announcement and other things going on with our economy. Okay, all of the major indexes dropped 2 to 3%, and apparently $1.6 trillion worth of value was wiped out Friday after the market closed. So I do expect Monday and Tuesday to be very bad days on the stock market. And yesterday, Venezuela demanded the convening of an emergency UN meeting in connection with preparations for an armed attack by the U.S. And the government of Grenada said Thursday that it is carefully reviewing a request by the U.S. to deploy military equipment and personnel to the island, which sits just 90 miles north of Venezuela. Okay, so the U.S. officially requested from Grenada if they could move equipment and personnel to Grenada, basically make a forward operating base. They also want to deploy radars there to monitor Venezuela, okay? Maduro reportedly offered Trump access to Venezuela's natural resources and an end to cooperation with Russia, China, and Iran in exchange for U.S. non-interference, but was sharply rebuffed, according to the New York Times. Hoping to end the conflict, Venezuelan officials allegedly offered the following to the Trump administration: open all existing and future oil and gas projects to American companies, grant preferential contracts to American companies, redirect Venezuelan oil exports from China to the U.S., terminate the country's energy and mining contracts with Chinese, Iranian, and Russian firms. Ultimately, according to the New York Times, the Trump administration rejected Maduro's economic concessions and cut diplomatic relations with Venezuela last week. Okay, so very, very concerning. So, guys, it looks like we're on the verge of war between the U.S. and Venezuela. Okay, it's coming very, very soon. And heavy clashes broke out between the Taliban and Pakistani forces this week, and we're seeing today some new clashes breaking out, and there's footage of the Taliban moving Humvees to the border of Pakistan, American Humvees that they got when we left them under the Biden administration. So they're using our weapons against Pakistan now. And Pentagon journalists have until 5 p.m. on October 14th to accept or officially reject the new media policy. Those who decline must relinquish their press credentials by October 15. The New York Times and CNN have already relinquished their credentials. Wow. And yesterday there was a big explosion at a munitions factory in Nashville, Tennessee area, roughly 60 miles west of Nashville. The energetics. And what's interesting about this munitions factory is that it had multiple contracts with the U.S. Army, some of them involving supplying Ukraine with munitions. Okay, so I believe that explosion was caused by some kind of Russian agent, Russian saboteur, or somebody sympathetic to the Russian side. Okay, because there was a large explosion, and then following the large explosion there were a series of smaller blasts. Okay, so it sounds like that one big explosion set off all the munitions there at the factory. Okay, so very, very concerning. And we're hearing reports that thousands of U.S.-bound UPS packages have been stranded nationwide due to Trump's new customs rules. And scattered flight delays are being reported nationwide due to the government shutdown. And FICO is warning of rising delinquencies. Americans are falling behind on car loans, credit cards, and personal loans. And Tony Blair, the former Prime Minister of the UK, met Jeffrey Epstein while serving as the British Prime Minister, according to new documents obtained by the BBC News. And the Justice Department is preparing criminal charges, supposedly, against John Bolton, Trump's former national security advisor. And Donald Trump Jr. told Newsmax on Monday that Fox News has become so ridiculous that he no longer watches it. On the Chris Salcedo show, he also said he was once banned from the network for more than 2 years. Trump's eldest son accused Fox News of going to extreme lengths to look unbiased, only to end up punishing conservatives in the process. Interesting. So that's the latest breaking news that I have. I might be back later on tonight with a live update, probably around midnight. We'll see. I hope you guys are having a great weekend. I hope you guys are preparing, because I think all hell is going to break loose. Looks like we're going to have an economic collapse. Looks like we're going to have a war with Russia, or some kind of big war with Venezuela as well. And potentially maybe there might be some new variant of the COVID coming back. All right, I find it very strange that Trump suddenly got a booster shot, almost like he knows something that we don't and he wants to get ahead of us. But that's it for now. Take care, God bless, and don't forget the 3 Ps. Prepare, practice, and persevere. And this update was sponsored by EMP Shield. Guys, EMP Shield has created a special discount just for you, the listeners of the NYPrepper channel. If you go to empshield.com and use the promo code NYPrepper, you can get 15% off your entire order. And why do you need an EMP shield? Well, this is a special device to protect your vehicle, your RV, your solar generators, your radios from an electromagnetic pulse, which could be caused by a solar flare or potentially a rogue country like North Korea detonating an electromagnetic pulse weapon over the United States that's mounted onto a satellite. So protect your vehicles, protect your RV, protect your radios, protect your generators with an EMP shield. Use my promo code NYPrepper to get 15% off. Installation is super simple. This is a veteran-owned business, 100% American-made, and the EMP shields have been tested by the military, okay? And free shipping is included to the entire continental United States. And the link and the promo code are in the description below this video.